We welcome you to NESN's coverage of Red Sox minor league baseball. Tonight, live from McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, the Paw Sox host the AAA affiliate of the Cleveland Indians, the Columbus Clippers. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Will Fleming along with Josh Maurer. Josh, tonight the Paw Sox get their first look at this Indians AAA affiliate. Yesterday, a big day for the club. Two young men named to the AAA All-Star team.
And first and foremost, Chris Marrero. Now, Red Sox fans have become familiar with his cousin. That's Devin. In fact, he was just up for a couple of weeks in the big leagues. Now, Chris was a former first-round pick in his own right, so he's got a pedigree, and you could make the argument he's been the most valuable player for the Paw Sox this season. Will, he leads the team in homers, he leads the team in runs batted in, and he's been an everyday staple in the middle of the lineup. Meanwhile, from the pitching standpoint, Sean O'Sullivan has been named a AAA All-Star, and O'Sullivan, who the Red Sox fans saw up in the big leagues, make a few starts back in May. Sean's going to go. He's been pitching very well. In fact, the best baseball he's pitched all season has been in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, the reigning International League Pitcher of the Week. And Josh, what's interesting is tonight was slated to be an O'Sullivan start. Instead, a guy who made a couple appearances last week out of the bullpen for Boston, and that's William Cuevas.
And Cuevas pitched very well. In fact, he helped bail out the bullpen in Texas in a couple of losses last weekend. He's been a starter his whole career, so he'll be back in his more natural environment tonight on the mound in the first inning, starting the game, and we'll see how he responds being optioned back here to AAA.
The Paw Sox and the Columbus Clippers. We've got lineups and the first pitch next on NESN. We welcome you back to McCoy Stadium, where the lineup cards are being exchanged. Kevin Bowles and Chris Tremme here on a beautiful Thursday night. Welcome to NESN's coverage of Red Sox minor league baseball. Along with Josh Maurer, I'm Will Fleming. Thrilled to bring you tonight's tilt, the first of four between the Paw Sox and the Columbus Clippers. Josh, the Paw Sox come in off a series win against the Rochester Red Wings. They took 2 of 3. Rusney Castillo took a big swing of the bat yesterday. Meanwhile, Columbus has won 5 of 6. Our first look at the AAA affiliate of the Indians, so a good test for Pawtucket with William Cuevas on the mound.
And Columbus, the defending International League champions. They won the Governor's Cup last year, and they've perennially not only been successful on the field, they've had a lot of really high-prized talent that's made the way up to Cleveland. The big reason that the Indians are playing so well right now, the hottest team in baseball, some of the guys that have come through Columbus over the past few years.
Get a look at Kevin Bowles and the man who will manage the International League in the AAA All-Star game in a couple weeks. That's Chris Tremme, the skipper for the Columbus Clippers. And the Paw Sox, as we said, come in winners of 2 of their last 3 ball games. And Josh, there's been so much roster turnover here of late, and as we will get you the starting lineups going forward, what's been so impressive of late is how many newcomers have really contributed to Pawtucket.
No question about it. This week alone, while we were in Rochester, both Mike Miller, a utility man, and Pat Light, a pitcher, went up to the big leagues. But the guys who have plugged in, they have made their way into Pawtucket and made ways to help contribute to victories. Paw Sox 2 games above 500.
Now the Columbus Clippers come in with a man who is currently serving a PED suspension in the leadoff spot. That's Abraham Almonte. The cleanup hitter, Jesus Aguilar, is as big a power threat as we have in this league. Giovanni Urshela is a slick third baseman. He bats 5th. Michael Choice has spent some time in the big leagues the last couple of seasons. Joey Butler and Yoxian Medina wrap things up for Chris Tremme's Clippers, who are in first place in the IL West. Meantime, we thought that this would be a Sean O'Sullivan start. Instead, late news that William Cuevas, just back from the big leagues, would take the ball for Pawtucket. Cuevas made 2 scoreless relief appearances for the Red Sox. He did walk 4, but only allowed 2 hits in his work out of the bullpen for the Red Sox.
Defensively for the Paw Sox tonight, behind the 25-year-old. In left field, Anuri Tavares. You'll see them pop up in just a moment. Tavares has just recently come up from Portland. Rusney Castillo is in center, Henry Ramos in right field. And then Jansen Whitty at third base. Devin Marrero back from the big leagues at short with Vinicio at second, Ryan Court at first. And Dan Butler is catching William Cuevas.
So here we go. AAA baseball from Pawtucket. Abraham Almonte digs in from the left side. And Cuevas' first pitch. A little bit high with a fastball. Cuevas is a fastball slider changeup combo. The changeup is his most effective offering. Back and forth. on 2 occasions from the big leagues to AAA as Almonte takes ball 2 outside. Cuevas last time out for Pawtucket was 11 days ago in Louisville. That day allowed 4 runs on 6 hits over 5 1/3. Chopper through the right side. That's a base hit. Almonte aboard an inauspicious start for Cuevas. We'll take a look at the men in black so far this evening. Max Gwill is behind home plate. Robert Moreno at first, and Eric Gillum is at third. Thank you for joining us on tonight's simulcast of the Paw Sox Radio Network and live on NESN. With you, Josh and I, the normal radio crew for the Paw Sox. Thrilled to be live on NESN. It's a spectacular night for a ball game here. A little muggy as Eric Gonzalez pops the first pitch up, 79 degrees. Through that humidity, a pop-up on the left side of the infield. Whitty makes the play, and that is the first out of the top of the first for Cuevas. Yandy Diaz.
Will William was not on the 40-man roster when this year began, and he wasn't on a lot of people's radar screens, but he got called up in April for the first time to Boston, made 1 appearance then, and you talked about the 2 appearances in Texas this weekend. He's been a starting pitcher his whole career. But then when he goes up to the big leagues, as so often happens, they ask you to go to a different route. He's been a reliever up there.
Yeah, in both those cases, they've needed length as Cuevas ducks out of the way. A missile back through the middle. Yandy Diaz has a shot to center field. That's a base hit. And Cuevas had a little bit of trouble here in the first. 12 starts at AAA so far. Cuevas 4-3 with a 3.3 as that was a shot through the box.
Yandy Diaz, talented young hitter out of Cuba. Great piece of that baseball, and both the hits from Almonte and Diaz well struck. You always wonder how a guy's going to react when he just comes back from a major league appearance and gets optioned back to AAA.
So 2 on 1 out, and here is a slugger. Jesus Aguilar, 15 home runs. He's driven in 44. Cuevas from the stretch. He missed with his first slider of the game. It acts sort of like a curveball you'll see all night. More of a 12-6 slider, but William himself classifies it as a slider, so we go that way. Aguilar trying to put Columbus ahead here in the top of the first. 1-0 pitch is ripped into left field. That's a base hit. Almonte will score. Over to third goes Diaz, and with a head-first slide, he is in there safely. And on an Aguilar base hit, Columbus right out of the gates takes the lead.
Well, there's some more loud contact there for Columbus. Jesus Aguilar is one of the big boppers in the International League. For years, it feels like, and this is the 3rd season he's been there, among these league leaders in home runs, runs batted in. Had a clean line drive over the third baseman's head, and it's a chance for a crooked number here early.
It is indeed. Diaz testing the arm of a Nuri Tavares out there in left. So Cuevas in some hot water. Already 3 hits and a run in. Giovanni Urshela takes a strike on the inside corner. Good 2-seam fastball from Cuevas. And the Clippers are hitting William hard early. Sometimes it can be hard for a starting pitcher like Cuevas to get out of that 5-day routine. He was thrilled to go to the big leagues and help the Red Sox in Texas, but not on his normal rest and rhythm. Foul ball knocks the mask of the catcher Dan Butler to the dirt, and for the first time Cuevas is ahead of a hitter, 0-2. Giovanni Urshela played in 85 games for the Indians last year. Slick glove third baseman, but Cleveland does not have a spot for him at the moment. The Indians, the hottest team in the big leagues. Terry Francona's club has won 12 in a row. Columbus comes in winners of 5 of 6 on a hot streak. Pop up on the infield. Jose Benicio looking up into bright sunshine, puts it away, and a big second out for Cuevas.
You know, before the game, William obviously not too Too nervous or intense about tonight's start? That's William right there, you see in the cutoff t-shirt, working one of our NESN cameras. Eduardo Rodriguez was throwing a bullpen session, and William said, I want to be the cameraman.
Cuevas is not a wallflower. He is such a likable guy as Michael Choice swings through fastball for strike one.
And we are told, by the way, from our crew that he did a fantastic job behind the camera. They want to sign him up, I think.
Didn't miss a single shot. Really, from the day that Cuevas joined this ball club, he was really well liked in the clubhouse. He is energetic, enthusiastic, and it's been the best year of his life. One strike pitch is fouled back. He's always looking to chat. He is really focused hard, has Cuevas, on the English language. He did not want to lean on his teammates from Venezuela, the Dominican. He has really made a big time commitment, and he speaks fantastic English. He'll always know where Willie is. Two-strike pitch to Choice, just high and outside. And it's a ball and 2 strikes.
And if he can get this out here, it'd be a nice little moral victory to get out of the first inning with just the 1 run scoring, especially considering with those 3 hits all being struck so well.
3 of the first 4 hitters hit the ball very hard. 2 down and 1 and 2 to Choice. Cuevas just misses a strikeout as Choice foul tips it out of the glove. Butler has a pretty good slider from Cuevas.
Not fun to be a catcher sometimes. Dan Butler's taken 2 of them here in the first inning. 1 off the mask, 1 off the chest.
This is also the time of night that it's pretty hard for both a catcher and a hitter to pick up the baseball. A shadow right between the mound and the plate. Out of a fireball from Cuevas into darkness. Another 1-2. Just outside. That 2-strike pitch. It levels the count. 2 and 2. Cuevas has not won a game since May 7th. 2 losses and 5 no decisions since. Normally he is a real commanding presence on the mound. Check swing, and he did not go. That'll run the count full. Cuevas throughout his career has just had terrific command of the strike zone. This year he has walked a few more hitters than last. In fact, in 7 straight starts he's walked 2. And for Cuevas, that almost counts as a big number. The full count pitch. Swing and a miss. There's the changeup, and Cuevas does limit the damage. Clippers get a run on 3 hits. They strand 2. After half an inning, Clippers 1, and the Pawtucket coming to bat. William Cuevas did a great job stemming the tide in the top of the first. He takes a seat, and he'll watch the Pawtuckets come to bat in the bottom half. Different looking lineup without Holt and Hannigan, who spent the weekend in Rochester with the Pawtuckets. Jose Vinicio is a speedster. Particularly for the left side tonight, look for him to bunt a whole lot. Chris Marrero, the cleanup man, just named to the IL All-Star team. Bruce Nate Castillo hit a big home run yesterday in Rochester, and Devin Marrero back from the big leagues ahead of the backstop, Dan Butler. On the mound tonight for Chris Tremme and the Clippers is a tall right-hander Will Roberts, who has been up and down this year. He just won his first start in 6 weeks, his last time out against the Norfolk Tides, but a lot of hits, and he's not a swing and miss guy. He's got 4 pitches. He's leaned heavily on a cutter of late. You can see that opponents have hit the ball hard against him. Here is Vinicio, takes a fastball up and away for ball 1. Fastball, cutter, slider, and a change. Mr. Roberts. Vinicio takes a strike, and it's 1-1. That one misses. 2 balls and a strike. Well, Josh, it looks like the Clippers have the book on Vinicio as Giovanni Urshela, the third baseman, plays in on the grass.
No question about it.
Vinicio takes 3-1.
It's a guy who uses the bunt as frequently as anybody you'll see. In fact, on the season with Pawtucket since he got promoted, he's got 19 hits. Nearly half of them have been bunts.
Got that wide stance here. He swears and takes outside, ball 4. Good start for Vinicio and the Pawtuckets.
Well, tonight behind Will Roberts for Chris Tremi and Columbus. Joey Butler is in left. Abraham Almonte has center with Yandy Diaz over in right. Giovanni Urshela has been a big leaguer for the Indians. He plays the hot corner. Eric Gonzalez, very talented at short. Yoxian Medina, Jesus Aguilar, and Guillermo Quiros round out the defense for the Clippers.
Clippers have got the IL's all-name team. Here's Anuri Tavares. Venicio's got a big lead over there at first. Tavares takes high and outside, ball one. Well, command has been an issue for Roberts, as already in this ball game, Quiros wants to go pay him a visit on the mound. Roberts has walked 4 hitters in 4 straight starts. It has been a struggle to find the strike zone for him. Tavares off to a slow start with the Paw Sox, just 1 for his first 12. When he gets hot, he's fun to watch. He came to Pawtucket on an incredible run from Portland. He takes in the dirt. Nice pick there from Quiros. In the month of June at Double-A, Tavares was hitting well north of 400. But with the influx of the rehabbers, Hannigan and Holt, the Paw Sox do have a crowded outfield. So Anuri in and out with Justin Maxwell and others, trying to find his footing at the plate.
Well, you can see that Roberts is really trying to find the command of something. Didn't have the fastball, so that time he tried a breaking ball and wasn't close.
That is far from the zone as well. A fastball that misses badly. 3-0.
Oftentimes you'll see a pitcher, if he doesn't have the fastball command as he begins an outing, he'll try the secondary pitches. Just see if he can get the feel of one pitch, something he feels comfortable throwing.
You would think this would be a straight take all the way for Tavares. It's a breaking ball for a strike. Well, Roberts did find something that he could guide over the outside corner of the plate. 3-1. UVA product is Roberts. Indians got him in the 5th round. Tavares waits as Venicio takes off for second. The hit and run works to perfection. First to third goes Venicio, and the Paw Sox are in business in the 1st. Can't dial it up any better.
Why not? You got a 3-1 count. Advantage to the hitter, so put the runner in motion, and that's a really nice piece of hitting by Anuri Tavares. Pitch down around his knees, and he went and got it. Clean line drive for a single, and Pawtucket with a chance to tie this game or take the lead.
One of their hottest hitters, Henry Ramos. Cuevas had this exact situation with 1 out, and he limited the damage in the 1st. Pawtucket trying to tie the game and maybe more here in the bottom half. Henry Ramos, 307. He's got 2 home runs. Both of those have come from this left side. Roberts misses downstairs with a fastball, 1-0, and he just can't find it right now. Henry 8 for his last 21. Driven in 9 in his last 4 ball games. Doesn't hurt when you drive in 4 in consecutive games. Breaking ball misses upstairs, ball 2.
We talked about it at the outset. As guys have gone up to the major leagues from the Pawtucket roster, those who've replaced them from Portland, like Henry Ramos, have filled those holes. Done a great job.
Henry drives one into right field. Playable for Diaz. Back to third, and tagging is Venicio. He will score without a throw. A Ramos sac fly ties the game at 1. Well, another Pawtucket hitter worked a count in his favor, got a pitch up and handled it.
That's probably an out that each team will take. Paw Sox are happy to get the run in, and for Columbus, and especially Will Roberts, he's happy to just get 1. Plenty deep enough into the outfield that with Venicio's speed, there was no way Yandy Diaz was going to even try a throw to the plate.
And here's the newly minted All-Star, Chris Marrero. He and Sean O'Sullivan got the news yesterday. Chris, 2 hits and 4 at-bats in the series finale in Rochester. He's the club leader with 12 home runs. He takes a pitch on the inside corner for strike 1.
The way the All-Star game works at this level, for those not familiar, it's the International League versus the Pacific Coast League. That's the other AAA league. So Chris representing the Paw Sox for the IL in that contest.
Roberts misses again, 1-1. That ball game will be played July 13 in Charlotte. And a well-deserved honor for both Chris and Sean O'Sullivan, who head down to that All-Star game. There goes Tavares. A pitch is outside. Throw is not nearly in time. Another steal for Tavares and the Paw Sox. It's a track meet on the base paths.
Well, Guillermo Quiroz, the catcher, he's been around forever. 34-year-old minor league veteran, but that pitch was stolen on the pitcher. You could see that Anuri Tavares was about a third of the way to second base by the time Will Roberts delivered the pitch. Easy steal.
Base runners have now stolen 10 of 12 against this right-hander Roberts. Hitters count again. Marrero. Eyes wide. He'll hunt for a fastball here as Roberts steps off and chases Tavares back to second. Thank you for joining us on this simulcast, the Paw Sox Radio Network and live on NESN. Really thrilled to be a part of this broadcast of Red Sox minor league baseball. Marrero waits for the pitch that misses high and outside, and it's 3-1.
Well, he's been behind 3 of the first 4 hitters, and that is a difficult way to pitch. Kind of painting himself into a corner here with Marrero, the big slugger up there. Wonder, we give into him here 3-1.
Chris does not have an extra base hit in his last 11 games. 3-1. High, ball 4. Now, Will Roberts is just fighting himself on the mound at the moment, and already we'll see a couple extra bullpen arms jog out of the first base dugout and head toward the pen for Columbus. Early signs of trouble for Chris Tremming. Most unusual. Some of those long setup guys have left the dugout and they already head to the outfield. The bullpens here at McCoy are beyond the wall in the outfield. Some reinforcements head outside the wall as Jansen Whitty stands in. Second walk already for Roberts. 2 on, 1 out for Jansen Whitty. Fastball 4, a strike. The first time all game that Roberts has thrown a first pitch strike. Whitty 254. He's driven in 14. A real consistent presence in the Paw Sox lineup. Times over the last week he's batted 3rd. He's really anchored things ever since Bryce Brentz went up to Boston. 1 strike pitch way outside. That was the cutter from Roberts, and it's 1-1.
Here's another name of a Portland Sea Dog come up here and help Pawtucket, and Whitty, as you kind of alluded to, establishing himself as a middle of the order presence. Ton of doubles. He's been getting on the base with regularity recently.
Yeah, 4 of the first 5 Pawtucket hitters spent a bulk of the first 2 months of the season in Portland as Whitty takes a strike. It's 1-2. Jansen's been on a doubles run. 3 of those in his last 3 games. A pair of consecutive RBI doubles in the middle game in Rochester. Roberts spins Tavares back to the second base bag. Of course, an off day for the Red Sox this evening. Coming back from Tampa, they'll welcome the LA Angels tomorrow. Paw Sox, this the first of a 4-game weekend set with the Columbus Clippers. The 1-2. Outside. Breaking ball. And missed, and it's 2-2.
And what the Paw Sox hitters have done this inning, Will, I think, is let Roberts be wild. They haven't chased. Not going out of the zone to kind of let him off the hook. They've made him make a pitch to get anybody out.
And when he's had to come in, they've hit it hard. The 2-2 to Whitty. Popped up, back of home plate. There's a lot of foul ground at McCoy. The catcher, Quiroz, just inside the retaining wall, reaches down and makes the play. Incredible effort by Quiros to stick with that. And he takes that one out of thin air to retire Whitty.
That's some good heads-up baseball by Guillermo Quiros, knowing how much foul ground there is here, not only on the aprons, but behind the plate at McCoy. Guillermo Quiros, parts of 10 major league seasons as a backup catcher. The Red Sox had him for 2 games back in 2012.
He played that number with the Giants in 2014, and it earned him a World Series ring. Here's Ryan Court, 2 on, 2 out. Tie game. Court takes outside, ball 1. Again, first pitch strikes hard to come by for Will Roberts. Roberts is in no particular hurry on the mound. 1-0 pitch taken high, and that is ball 2.
That's 25 pitches in the inning. Only 8 of them have been strikes. That's a tough way to work, and it's going to make, if that ratio holds up, it's going to make it a short night for Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, more than twice as many balls than strikes. 17-8. 2-0 to Court. Foul back. Breaking ball looked like a pretty hittable pitch. Well, no club in the sport is hotter than the Clippers' parent club, the Cleveland Indians. They've won 12 in a row. And dominant young starting pitching, really kind of the envy of the sport. Terry Francona's got that club rolling. Broken out to a 5-game lead in the AL Central. The 2-1 to Court. Inside and high, 3-1. And Josh, when Roberts has missed, it just has not been that close.
No, and he's really struggling with that fastball command. That one missed to the arm side. Figure that cutter could be a good out pitch for him in a spot like this. Maybe you make one good pitch and have somebody hit it off the end of the bat.
Smacking on that gum on the mound. That is a strike on the outside corner, and that runs the count full, 3-2. I guess the numbers coming in just don't lie for this right-hander. He has really had difficulty throwing strikes of late. Been a rough month of June for him. In 4 starts coming in, he has allowed 17 runs. Ground ball to short. Gonzalez fires across the diamond. The Paw Sox are retired, but they do tie the game. When we return for the second, we'll have the Paw Sox skipper Kevin Bowles will join us for a chat. We're tied at 1 after 1. On a bright Thursday night in Pawtucket. Welcome back to McCoy Stadium. Paw Sox and the Columbus Clippers tied at 1. We're thrilled to be joined on headset live from the dugout by the Paw Sox skipper Kevin Bowles. Kevin, great to talk to you. I thought it was impressive the way that William Cuevas was able to limit the damage there in the first.
Yeah, they were pretty aggressive in that first inning. First pitch swinging. They've got some guys that are threats in the lineup, but I thought he handled himself well, was able to slow things down and execute pitches when needed.
He's been able to limit the damage a lot here of late. His first test here in the second inning, Guillermo Quiros, the right-handed hitting catcher. That's fouled back to the screen. Kevin, Henry Ramos has come up from Portland and done nothing but hit for your club. And he ties the game with that sacrifice fly. Another mature approach from the kid.
Yeah, he's done a terrific job, and especially from the left-hand side. He's showed some impact with the bat. He's played quality defense. We've had him at all 3 outfield positions, and he brings a lot of energy to the club. But he's interesting. There's some tools there, and he's starting to play the game the right way. We're seeing a lot of good things from him, and the biggest thing is he's on the field. I think he's been able to stay healthy this year, and it's good to see him develop.
You know, Kevin, this is Henry, just one of many guys who have come up from Double-A over the last month and a half, who have made pretty major contributions for your team. Talk about the newcomers and how difficult it is maybe to come up, make that transition, and contribute the way that they have.
Well, they've done a terrific job, and you know, that Portland staff, they've done a great job having these guys prepared. Some of these guys are getting a fresh opportunity. They weren't playing as much down in Portland, so we've been able to get them some opportunities here. With all the movement that we've had up to the big league level, these guys have filled in nicely. They've done a terrific job.
It is 2-2 to Quiros. He just ripped a pitch foul to level the count, 2-2. Kevin Bowles, the Paw Sox manager, joining us live on NESN. Kevin, I know that you were elated with the news. Two of your real stars all year, Sean O'Sullivan and Chris Marrero, named to the IL All-Star team yesterday, and both those guys, that is well deserved.
Well, they've done a terrific job. They've been reliable, consistent. Both have brought in a veteran presence into the clubhouse. I think Sully does a great job leading the pitching staff. Chris Marrero leads by example. Terrific worker. He's performed well. He's been an impact bat for us, and we couldn't be happier for both those guys. They've done a terrific job.
Heroes pops one up into shallow right field. Vinicio will make the play. One away.
I think it'd be interesting, Kevin, to know for a team that you haven't seen before this year, we're already almost in July. How do you prepare to take on a new club with all these new names that maybe you haven't seen before?
Well, we've seen some of these guys in the past. We saw them last year. These guys have moved up and down from the big league level, from Columbus to Cleveland. So we've seen quite a few of these guys. But again, it's scouting reports, getting information from Boston, doing our own research and making sure that we match up and try to put guys in the right position. But until you see them on the field and in person, you're really not going to know. But some of these guys, they've got some ability over on that club.
Joey Butler stands in. Cuevas' first pitch to him is in there for strike. Last thing for you, Kevin, there's been so much turnover. And the fun part of your job is telling guys, look, your big league dream is about to come true. Mike Miller had that call from you, really kind of an email form last week.
Yeah.
Tell our fans how much fun that is when you get to do that.
It's the best thing in the world. There's nothing like it. With Mikey's situation, it's funny, he was complaining about he ran out of gigabytes on his phone. And so he was sitting behind me, and I'm sitting there laughing to myself going, he has no idea how many gigabytes he's going to be able to buy tomorrow. So ended up sending him a couple emails. The second one was his flight itinerary. And when he scrolled down, the way he lit up, it was terrific. That was one of the better ones, and well-deserved for him because he's a worker. He's been a great guy in this organization. We couldn't be happier for him.
And it's life-changing news a lot of the time when you give that information, right?
Yeah, it's a huge impact. And, you know, he's a big leaguer for life, and nobody can ever take that away from him. And it's good to see good guys, high-quality makeup guys with ability get rewarded. And he's one of those guys. He's got versatility on the field. He puts together a good at-bat. And he's done a terrific job. He's filled in nicely up there for the time being.
Well, Joey Butler was struck out. Kevin, we appreciate the time. We'll see if we can get Mike Miller some more data. Go back to work. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Thanks, fellas.
That's Kevin Bowles, the skipper of the Paw Sox. Always great with his time with us. We really appreciate that. Pretty neat to get a live look to the dugout. Yoxian Medina drives one to left. Back on to Tavares. He watches it sail out of the ballpark for a home run. The Clippers, just like that, take the lead. It is 2-1. And we should have kept Kevin on a little longer.
Boy, no doubt about it there. Out of the number 9 spot, Yoxian Medina. He's kind of a utility guy for this Columbus team. Nothing utility about this swing.
Yeah, with a pitch that Cuevas might like to have back up in the zone a little bit, and he turned it right around.
Yeah, it's been a problem over his past few AAA starts for William. Giving up 6 home runs over his last 13 AAA innings.
Something that never was an issue early, and really for the bulk of his minor league career. Here is Almonte for the second time. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Almonte sparked that run-scoring rally in the first with a base hit to right. Really enjoyed that chat with Kevin Bowles. We have much more of that for you throughout the show. We'll talk to the pitching coach, Bob Kipper, hitting coach, Rich Kedman, and later on we'll talk to Paw Sox general manager, Dan Ray. Full slate ahead from the dugout here at McCoy. One strike to Almonte is outside, and it's 1-1.
For Yoxian Medina, who just hit that home run, that was only his 3rd run batted in 25 AAA games this year.
You would not think of him as a power threat. 2-1 to Almonte. Because Almonte is on this suspension, he is working his way back to the big leagues. 80 games he is serving. And when he comes off that list, the Cleveland Indians are going to have a decision to make. They are hot, and they've got a great group of outfielders at the moment as the 2-1 is fouled off. And Michael Brantley, who was supposed to be their leader in the outfield, has spent the majority of the season on the disabled list. But guys like Rajay Davis have really stepped into big roles for Terry Francona. And you wonder what they'll do to try to not disrupt the flow at the big league level. 2-2. Called strike 3. Beautiful changeup from Cuevas. And the inning is over. However, Yoxian Medina goes yard And after an inning and a half, Columbus 2 and the Paw Sox 1. Looking for affordable family fun? Why not head down to McCoy Stadium? Catch a Paw Sox game. We've got a full slate here in the month of July. 14 home games, Josh, including a great slate this weekend of some post-game fireworks. We'll have 80s themed fireworks later in the month. For more information, you can visit pawsox.com, but why not come on out, have a good time at an affordable price.
And we'll talk about it, but this is one of the biggest weekends of the season coming up at McCoy. For the next 3 nights, there will be patriotic-themed fireworks, and I'm going to call them extravaganzas.
They are indeed. You do not get cheated on the fireworks show here at McCoy. Rusney Castillo took a breaking ball outside for ball 1. You saw a shot of William Cuevas. Some consternation on his face as Castillo pops one foul. That looked like a pretty good pitch to hit. Castillo launched one in Rochester yesterday. That was his second home run. Pulled it out to left. That is not close. Up and in. 2-1. Thanks for joining us on this simulcast live on NESN and throughout the Paw Sox radio network, along with Josh Maurer and Will Fleming, as Castillo takes a pitch up and in. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike.
You know, you felt like Will Roberts, the Columbus pitcher, was pretty fortunate to get out of that first inning with just the 1 run, having scored, and then maybe he would be able to settle in and find the commands. Not an encouraging start.
Nor is that. Ball 4 not close. So for the second straight inning, the leadoff man is walked. Third free pass issued already for Roberts. And I think you made a good point, Josh. In that first inning, these Paw Sox hitters, number one, they look comfortable, but they look like they're in no mood to do Roberts any favors.
These guys, Kevin Bowles was talking about scouting reports that they get. They know that he's been wild of late. So they'll tell these hitters before the game, hey, if it looks like he's out of the zone, be very patient. And that's obviously been the case. What they've done, taking 3 walks, the first 7 men to come.
Here's Devin Marrero, back from the big leagues, had a nice stint with the Sox. He takes a first pitch strike. With Brock Holt here on a rehab over the week, Devin has not been an everyday player, but throughout the season he has been such a fixture at shortstop and in the lineup for Kevin Bowles. 1 for 8 since he's come back from the big leagues. He was hot before he went. Throw over Castillo back to first. I think the other thing for these Pawtucket hitters is these have not been difficult takes. I mean, they have started out of the zone and moved further away. Devin yesterday was 1 for 4 in the finale in Rochester. Castillo bluffs a steal as Roberts misses badly with a breaking ball, and it's 1-1.
Red Sox fans who have seen Rusney Castillo play know that he is a quick base runner. In his time with Pawtucket, he's stolen 6 bases and not been caught. If the pitcher Roberts weren't as all over the place as he was with his command, I'd say certainly you steal, but I don't know that you even risk it here in this spot.
Castillo's dancing around over on the base paths. Roberts is certainly aware of him. As Boston fans know by now, Devin, his power is to right center field. He's wearing Bryce Brentz's old number tonight. For the longest time, he's been 16 here in Pawtucket. Here's a foul down the right field side into the picnic area, 1-2. It is strange to see 25 on the back of anybody not named Bryce Brentz. And Bryce has been great with the Red Sox.
Boy, what a week. I know the Red Sox didn't have the road trip that they would have hoped for in Texas and Tampa. Just the 2 wins, but Bryce played in all those games. Bryce Brentz has been waiting for an opportunity like that for years. 4 years, really, he's been with Pawtucket. Finally getting an opportunity for at least a week anyway to play every day in the major leagues, and he showed some stuff.
The Red Sox just can't keep a left fielder healthy, and they're hoping against all hope that Brock Holt will pass all the concussion protocol. He and Hannigan played 5 innings in the finale yesterday in Rochester. And if all goes well, then perhaps Brock can be reactivated. But I think Bryce will be there to stay in the short term, if not the long, as Marrero fouls one back. And you can only imagine, Josh, how that must feel for Brentz to wait as long as he had. He had a late call up. at the end of the season, but to get an opportunity in earnest and to cash it in as he is finally healthy, he must be on top of the world.
We were talking to Kevin Bowles in the top of the inning about giving the news that you're going up to the big leagues, which is something a AAA manager gets to do frequently. Bryce is a special case because Kevin Bowles has been with him for so long.
Hit and run again is perfectly executed. Castillo will head for third, and the throw gets by Urshela. Marrero will move up to second. That was going to be a close play, but Urshela just could not handle Almonte's throw. And the Paw Sox, with the hit and run on, are 2 for 2. They are in business here in the second.
Another good at bat. That time Devin Marrero shooting that pitch into right center. That, when Devin is going well with the plate, is what you see him do so frequently, go in that direction. And with the second baseman, Medina, moving to cover, he had an open spot. That was a pretty good throw from Abraham Almonte, but because Urshela didn't catch it, Mr. Almonte charged with an error.
Here's the catcher, Dan Butler. Second and third with nobody out. The infielder's not been on the move because of Castillo taking off. That's probably right at the second baseman. So beautifully done. Ball 1 to Butler. That's been a common theme for this right-hander, Will Roberts. And particularly for Bryce Brentz, I'm sure that he was so relieved to receive the news because on a number of occasions this year, he had been passed over. Butler drives one into right center field. That's a hit. Castillo scores, and the ball game is tied. More loud contact for the Paw Sox. Butler, with his 8th run batted in, and with still nobody out, the Paw Sox are hitting the ball very hard.
Dan Butler's been with this organization for a long time. Made it up to the big leagues a few years ago for a cup of coffee. Kind of quietly here in Pawtucket this year with some of the bigger names like Leone and Swihart up in the big leagues. Dan started to play a lot, and his bat has responded in turn. He's had a great month, and we're seeing more loud contact against Will Roberts.
Here is Vinicio, who walked and scored his first time. Paw Sox had a similar opportunity in the first inning to hang a big number. They could not. Here we go again. First and third with still nobody out. Vinicio takes high and away, ball 1. And that's another really easy take for a Paw Sox hitter. Roberts comes home. Vinicio takes in the dirt, and that's a run-saving pick from Quiroz.
But Roberts has been awry on many pitches, but especially to Vinicio. He hadn't really come close. Walked him back in the first inning. These two nowhere near the strike zone, and you can see that young man is just fighting it, and he has been from the moment they said go.
He's either been way out of the zone or dead in the heart of it. 2-0. Swing and a smash to second. That is caught, and Dan Butler does well to stay out of a double play. Another frozen rope. Medina made the play.
Number 23,
Well, Jose Vinicio rips this pitch, but just 2 steps to the left for Yoxian Medina. Fortunate for Columbus. A line shot, finally the first out in the inning. Otherwise, the Paw Sox have the lead if Medina's not positioned perfectly.
Tavares bats for the second time. He ripped a hit to right. Back in the first. Breaking ball, bounce foul. And it's 0-1.
We were talking about Bryce Brentz going up to Boston, just part of the cavalry that have really in the last few weeks made their way from this Pawtucket roster up to try to help John Farrell's club through some injuries. Ryan Lamar, Devin Marrero, Pat Light this week, Mike Miller.
1 strike pitch, misses. How about Sandy Leone and the job he's done behind the plate for John Farrell? I'm not sure Sandy's ever had a better 2 weeks in his career at the plate.
Well, the purpose of a farm system is fill in the gaps where needed. Fortunately, from Pawtucket, they found some bodies.
Ripped foul, look out, Bruce Crabb. Did a little dance out of the way, and it's 1-2.
You will rarely see a 3 or 4 week stretch where more guys come from AAA up to the big leagues just out of necessity. Even tonight's starter for Pawtucket, William Cuevas, went up this weekend. They've had to do it, and for the most part, they've really helped out.
1-2 to Tavares. Outside with a fastball. Marco Hernandez started the year here. He has been there for the bulk of 2 months up in Boston, providing a left-handed bat off the bench for John Farrell. Heath Hembry, Pat Light, on and on. It has been a total feeder system. The 2-2. Low. Close pitch, but that runs the count full.
Well, it's an interesting decision here for Kevin Bowles. Do you put the runner at first base in motion here? Try to stay out of a ground ball double play. Dan Butler at first base. I imagine you might put him off. See what Kevin Bowles elects to do.
He bluffs, and Tavares takes inside, ball 4. The bases will be loaded after Roberts' second walk of the inning, his 4th of the night. He is asking for trouble as Henry Ramos comes to the plate.
It's another good at bat by Tavares, and a pretty close 3-2 pitch that he takes. Nuri aboard for the second time in the night. You're right about asking for trouble here with this guy, the hottest run producer in the league at the moment, perhaps.
It was the 50th, I beg your pardon, pitch of the night for Roberts. Ramos tied the game in the first with a sacrifice fly. He's looking to untie it here in the second. Bases loaded with 1 away. Not close. A fastball outside. 1-0 to Ramos. Henry really has been on a tear. For a 4-game stretch here at the end of June. An 8-for-16 run with 7 batted in. Here he pops one up. Back into left field, carrying pretty well. Butler in front of the track will get there. Tagging at third is Marrero. He will score, and Ramos has his second sacrifice fly, and the Paw Sox have their first lead.
Doing plenty to get this runner in. Henry's got this sac fly thing down pat, huh? Joey Butler with the lunging catch. No question that Devin Marrero was going to be able to advance. We have not yet had a half inning in this game without a run. 3-2 Pawtucket in front.
And Dan Butler scampered over to third, so he might well score on a pass ball or a wild pitch. See if that proves important here in this inning. So 3-2 Pawtucket. And here now, the cousin of the man who just scored the go-ahead run, Chris Marrero. Chris walked back in the first. Popped up foul side of first. Aguilar will have room. He puts it away, and the inning is over. The Paw Sox send 7 to the plate. 2 of them come home. After 2 at McCoy, Pawtucket leads Columbus 3-2. The Paw Sox have added a fireworks show after the game on Friday, July 15th, when the Sox host Charlotte at 7:05. Fans will be treated to a spectacular fireworks show set to the I Love the 80s music. In addition, fans will enjoy a series of free and in-game promotions themed around the decade. For tickets, please visit pawsox.com. 80s post-game fireworks. As we head to the third, here for the play-by-play is Josh Mauer.
Yeah, get out your jean jackets for that night. Maybe the long hair. Here comes Eric Gonzalez. Talented young shortstop to lead off, and William Cuevas missed with ball 1. Glad you could be with us here on a Thursday night in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Gonzalez out in front, pulls a foul, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, if you like base runners, this has been your kind of night. Columbus has scored single runs in each inning. Pawtucket 1 in the first and just got 2 to take the lead in the second against Will Roberts. Cuevas working with a lead. A changeup was devastating and gets him ahead 1-2 on Eric Gonzalez. You talk to William, he says that's his best pitch. He'll go to it when he needs an out most. 1-2. Overthrew the fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We've talked about Paw Sox players to get their big league debut this year. 2-2. There's the changeup. Gonzalez had no chance. Strikeout number 4 for William Cuevas. And how about this pitch just dissolving towards the ground?
Yeah, he's getting the feel for that changeup, and no chance for Gonzalez there. I'm not sure he's had the best feel for the fastball yet, but that change is truly working for him.
Yandy Diaz singled his first time up. Signed by the Indians out of Cuba. Had a play on the right side. So Cuevas, when he got his first big league time back in April, he may have been as on cloud 9 as any. Then just back up this weekend to help a Red Sox bullpen that had been overly taxed when they were in Texas. He's 25 years old and hails from Venezuela. 0-1. That's back out of play, nothing in 2. We were talking about William, one of the more likable guys you'll come across. Always talking, always smiling. Remember, we spoke with him after he came back from his big league debut in April, and he was walking on air. 0-2 to Diaz. It's straight back. Boy, that was a fastball that was there to hit.
And I'm convinced, Josh, that trip 1 informed and allowed him to excel in trip 2. Just a different role for him, pitching out of the bullpen, and gave up what proved to be the winning run in his debut against Tampa, but 2 very good ones against the Rangers.
That was close. Change up laid off. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Yandy Diaz. Good crowd here at the beginning of this 4-game series. Here from McCoy. The 1-2. Change up again for another swinging strikeout. That's 3 in a row. And he has struck out 5. For our radio audience, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on the Paw Sox Radio Network. Paw Sox have a 3-2 third inning lead. And Jesus Aguilar, who drove in one of the Columbus runs, is ahead 1-0. This is our simulcast between the radio and television side. Along with Will Fleming, I'm Josh Maurer. We broadcast the Pawtucket games, all of them in the IL on the radio. Night in, night out, you can find us. Happy to be with our friends at NESN here for this special broadcast. Hope you're enjoying a night where you can check out some of the future Sox. Boston back home tomorrow. They welcome the Angels at Fenway. 2-1 on Aguilar. That's into left, a little bit off the end of the bat though, and that gives Tavares a chance to make the play. Jesus Aguilar can really mash him. Couldn't quite square that one up, and we've got a 1-2-3 inning. We'll be visiting with Paw Sox pitching coach Bob Kipper. Coming back, 3-2, Pawtucket in front.
Count to 10. Oh.
3-2, Pawtucket over Columbus. Bottom of the 3rd inning coming up from McCoy Stadium. Well, the Paw Sox getting a 1-2-3 top of the inning from their starter William Cuevas. It's a good time to welcome on one of his bosses. Here's the pitching coach for Pawtucket, Bob Kipper, who has joined us live from the dugout. Bob, it's always great to spend some time with you. We thank you for joining us here in the middle of the game. Talk about William so far. What have you seen, and maybe especially in that inning from William Cuevas?
Well, he showed an exceptional changeup, no question about it. His strikeouts came on real good sell and deception with the changeup, and really good use right on right. You know, William has a level of pitchability and a presence on the mound that allows him to be successful.
Jensen Whitty has the count go even, 1 ball and 1 strike against Will Roberts.
We saw a pretty big name up in Boston throwing in the bullpen earlier today, Bob, and I know it's good to see Joe Kelly get back up on a mound.
Yeah, Joe had a really solid 20-pitch side. I know it was only 20 pitches, but it was a real good 20 pitches. He looked free. He looked unrestricted. He looked healthy. He was backspinning the baseball. He was carrying the glove. Everything you'd like to see in a side.
What is it about Kelly's injury that makes it most challenging to come back from?
Well, I don't know if I can answer that question. Any injury is a challenge to come back from, but groins are sensitive parts of the body, and it's part of the lower half. And as we well know, lower half is a real big part of throwing a baseball and swinging a bat.
3-1 meanwhile on Whitty, and there's another walk from Will Roberts. That's number 5, and Pawtucket as the leadoff man on base as we visit with pitching coach Bob Kipper.
Bob, I know a little bit later we're going to talk about Eduardo Rodriguez, but first I just want to look back to yesterday. I'm not sure we've seen a more impressive bullpen effort from a kid who's just come up from AA. He's had a heck of a year, and tell our fans a little bit about Chandler Shepard.
Well, I do know he went to the University of Kentucky. He told me that. I don't know how relevant that is, but I mean, I had a little exposure around him in big league camp, enough to know that I really liked what I saw. But there's no denying, how good he was yesterday. He did all the things you need to do to be successful on the mound. He commanded the strike zone. He really created downhill playing with the fastball, late explosive light. He pitched predominantly down in the zone with it. He had a great curveball changeup mix going, and there was a reason why he only threw 39 pitches in 3 innings and went 9 up, 9 down. He did all the things you need to do.
1 ball and 1 strike on Ryan Court. Jensen Whitty leads from first with nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning here on our simulcast. Bob Kipper is our guest from the dugout. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Speaking of your bullpen, Bob, how about a guy who just got the call this week back to Boston and the work that he's done, especially about over the last month? I'm talking about the fireballer, Pat Light. Something it looked like these past few weeks really clicked for him. What are the fans in Boston going to see from Mr. Light when he goes to the hill?
Well, I hope they see a lot of what we were seeing here. A guy that is very comfortable with his game right now. A guy that's more in tune with the right timing in his delivery to allow him to accelerate late through a baseball. As a result, commanding the strike zone with much more frequency. I mean, when you look at Pat, he's got all the attributes. He's strong, he's physical. It's what late inning guys in the bullpen look like. He generates power stuff. He's got a mid to upper 90-mile-an-hour fastball that he's harnessing in the strike zone with certainly more frequency now. And, of course, the development of his split finger that began actually in instructional league 2 years ago. And, we saw a little bit of that last year, how dominating that pitch can be at times. And so he has a nice little complement of his fastball splitting going on right now. And what makes it all work is, like I said earlier, is his ability to command the strike zone.
Want to know on Rusney Castillo, Ryan Court reached on a ball to shortstop, hit off the glove of Gonzalez, and Jensen Whitty all the way to 3rd. So they are on the corners with nobody out. Paw Sox try to extend a 1-run lead, and this may very well do it. Let's see. Into right field, Diaz. Nope, they're not going to test him as Whitty bluffs and goes back to 3rd. So Castillo not quite deep enough into right field, and now there is 1 out.
Well, Bob, the Red Sox, of course, made the decision to send Eduardo Rodriguez back to Pawtucket to get some work in, to get himself right. I know you have had a history with Eddie, both on the way up and then in the big leagues. From your perspective, where we sit today, what is next for Eddie? What does he need to do to become the Eddie Rodriguez that we all know and love?
Well, you're right. He needs to reclaim his game and everything that made Eddie Rodriguez a very special, exciting 22-year-old left-handed pitcher in the big leagues last year. And it really starts with a delivery that's more athletic. And, he's committed to, getting comfortable and familiar with that again to the extent that he can repeat it. And let's face facts. When Eddie Rodriguez entered our organization 2 years ago, I think what was really impressive about him as a young left-hander was his ability to command his fastball. And that drives his success on the mound, and it doesn't really matter what level we're talking about. You know, his success was a byproduct of commanding his fastball last year at the big leagues, and you know, the development of a legitimate changeup to complement that is something that he wants to reestablish, and of course, you know, the breaking ball, and so. You know, he's got a simple 3-pitch mix, and we want to get to the point that he has the confidence and the trust to throw those pitches in any game situation versus any hitter.
Talking about Eduardo Rodriguez, that's Bob Kipper, just to catch up our radio audience. Runners now on second and third with one out. Ryan Court stole second base, and Columbus has elected to bring the infield in behind Will Roberts as Devin Marrero bats. 1-1. That's to second. Runner breaking for the plate is Whitty, and the out is recorded at home. Yoxian Medina to the catcher Quiroz. They're on the corners now with 2 out. Dan Butler will be the batter. Bob, we really thank you for the time. One more for you. I know that it is exciting for you every time that one of your pupils here in Pawtucket gets the call to the big leagues. One of the things that I know that you have continued to remind the guys who are here is that, hey, you never know when your time is going to come. So you have to always make sure that you're working your hardest and be ready when that call does come. Talk a little bit about that message that you give to your guys.
Well, there's no question about it. I mean, we're an extension of our major league club, and so our challenge here is to develop our pitchers, players, that they are well equipped to you know, compete at the major league level and help our major league team win baseball games. So, you know, that's an ongoing process. These guys live it day to day. We try not to put timetables on anything because guys are going to develop in their own way in their own time because they're just that, individuals. So, you know, and that's what they're challenged with every day they come to the ballpark.
Bob, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Sure,
Great to talk with you.
My pleasure, guys.
Paul Sox pitching coach Bob Kipper. That's live in the dugouts. William Cuevas, the starter tonight, working with a 1-run lead at least. Dan Butler, meanwhile, trying to add on. 2 out. And runners on at first and third base. Dan drove in a run last inning with a hit. Runners in motion. Quiroz throws through, and that's not in time. Devin Marrero has the 3rd steal of the night. Running wild on Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, it's a track meet, and you can tell that they know he does not have good times to the plate. They have executed 2 perfect hit and runs, and as you watch this replay, I mean, that's just an incredible jump by a guy who moves well. Devin Marrero at one point in his career was the Red Sox minor league base runner of the year. He's got a good sense, and when Roberts is on the mound, you can tell the Paw Sox have the green light.
So 2 in scoring position. Called strike. Inside edge on Dan Butler. Ryan Court at third. And Marrero at second base. In the inning, there's been a walk, and the ball that Court hit was scored an error on the shortstop. Next 2 retired, the 2-2. Breaking ball away, and so the count runs full. Will Roberts has thrown over 70 pitches now. We are in the 3rd inning. Big pitch here. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Butler high into the air in the left. Joey Butler's over by the fence, and that ball is gone. A high towering fly that lands in the Pawtucket bullpen. Dan Butler has a 3-run home run. The Paw Sox strike for a big one with 2 out in the 3rd. It is 6-2.
Well, that's the swing they've been looking for a long while. Finally, they've had Roberts on the ropes, and Butler got a breaking ball that hung on the inner half. High towering drive that just got past the reach of Joey Butler in left. That's an enormous swing of the bat for Dan Butler.
One Butler trying to rob the other. Out of real estate was Joey, and for Dan, that's his 2nd home run. Now Vinicio into left center. That'll be the left fielder Butler taking charge to retire the side. Dan Butler, in the last 2 innings, has driven in 4 runs. The Paw Sox, they've broken it open. 6-2 as we head to the 4th. Well, fans, the first 5,000 fans entering McCoy Stadium on Saturday, July 16th. They received this Paw Sox replica number 50 team jersey. That's when Pawtucket takes on the White Sox AAA affiliate, the Charlotte Knights. 6:05 on the 16th. Nifty looking jersey. Visit pawsox.com for ticket information. Well, this is a surprise turn of events. The Paw Sox have gone into the bullpen as we go to the 4th inning. Now with a 6-2 lead, this is Roman Mendez, veteran right-hander coming in. And Mr. Cuevas, who struck out a total of 5 batters over his 3 innings, is going to be pulled from this game.
Yeah, he threw only 48 pitches, did Cuevas, and he got stronger as his outing went on. He struck out 4 of the last 6 hitters he faced. Here's Mendez coming onto the mound. He is an important weapon in Kevin Bull's bullpen. Gave up 3 runs his last time out. That was 5 days ago here in 2 innings against Scranton. But overall, the month of June has been a very good one for Roman Mendez.
Giovanni Urshela, then Michael Choice and Guillermo Quiroz to bat for Columbus. Dan Butler's 3-run home run has made it a 4-run lead. So Mendez inherits a good advantage. Urshela popped to second his first time up in an RBI opportunity. Nothing in 1, and that'll get out of play. So Mendez pumps in a couple of strikes. In June, he had allowed just 1 earned run before his last outing. Ended up giving up a couple of home runs. That was last Saturday against Scranton, so 3 runs in that game.
And perhaps Cuevas coming back from the time in the bullpen with the Red Sox, not fully stretched out. Maybe that's part of the reason he's been taken out of the game after throwing those 48 pitches. He got stronger as his evening wore on.
31 of the 48 pitches from William were strikes. He will not be involved in the decision. So it's Mr. Mendez out of San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican. And he's back with the organization that originally signed him all the way back in 2007. Nothing in 2 on Urshela. Pitch by Mendez. Splitter that missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That pitch is a big weapon for him. It's not maybe as consistent as Pat Light's is, but it's a big part of his arsenal. And as I said, the month of June, he has thrown it for strikes, and it has really lifted him.
1-2. That's popped behind second base, and a play for the right fielder Ramos. Henry takes charge coming in. And there's 1 away for Mr. Mendez here in the 4th inning.
And Roman would tell you that he'd like to cut down on the base on balls. He's marked 20 in his 33 2/3 innings. Part of that is that split finger pitch. Not the easiest in the world to command, but to cut down on those walks and hits. The whip could stand to be a little bit deflated for Mendez. He's been fantastic other than the blip last time out.
6-2, Pawtucket leading tonight. Michael Choice takes a strike. Cuevas struck him out to get out of a jam in the 1st inning. He stranded runners on the corners in that frame. 0-1 to Choice, down and away. Hope you're enjoying our broadcast from Pawtucket. This evening it's the Paw Sox and the Indians AAA affiliate, the Columbus Clippers. Simulcast on NESN and the Paw Sox radio network. 1-1 is hit back up and out of play. So Choice behind 1-2. This Pawtucket team, for the better part of the last week, had both Brock Holt and Ryan Hannigan playing on rehab assignments for Boston. Neither of them are here tonight. And it remains to be seen if the time has come for them to rejoin their teammates at Fenway tomorrow. 1-2, up the ladder goes Mendez. High heat, and Michael Choice is gone, 2 out.
That's such an effective pitch. The hitter a little uneasy about the split finger fastball. This one stays up in the zone, and really Choice is just overpowered by it. And Mendez, that's the thing he has always had. He's got a big arm. He's had some time in the big leagues with the Angels and trying to get back there, and he certainly has the arm and the stuff to do it.
Now Quiroz. 0-1 on Guillermo Quiroz. We thought that both Hannigan and Holt looked very comfortable at the plate. Brock coming back from a concussion. Hannigan from his neck issue, and it seems like, at least if you watch them, Will, the baseball side ready, good to go. The medical side is the one question mark. Are they cleared?
There's no question of that, and I think it's pretty clear Will Roberts' night is going to be done after that very troubling third inning in which he gave up the home run to Butler.
That one deep into right center. Castillo on the run and into the gap. Rusney able to track it down. Quiroz is retired, and Roman Mendez comes in early and sets the side down in order. It is Pawtucket 6, Columbus 2. The fans of the Paw Sox are pleased to present this cool-looking Xander Bogaerts bobblehead doll. It's coming up on Saturday, July 30th, when the Paw Sox host Scranton Wilkes-Barre at 6:05. Only goes to the first 3,000 fans, getting this popular collector's edition of the Bogaerts bobblehead. Compliments of Bristol County Savings Bank and WEEI-FM. So make sure to get there early, July the 30th. Visit pawsox.com to get all your tickets. Well, both of these teams going quickly into the bullpen tonight. Pawtucket pulling William Cuevas after 3. Columbus ditto to Will Roberts. The last 3 innings, and here comes Jeff Johnson, the right-hander, into pitch. Jumpers on Johnson, as you can see, 3-1.
And good strikeout to walk ratio, and this right-hander limiting hitters to 191 average.
Anuri Tavares leans back out of the way, and that's ball 1. Will Roberts got just 9 outs. He allowed 6 runs. Biggest issue for Roberts, 5 walks. He did not strike out a batter. 1-0. On the foul side of third, drifting away from Urshela. In and out of the seats. 1-1 on Anuri, who has singled and walked.
I think you could see right from the outset that Roberts just does not have it tonight. Command had been an issue coming in. That certainly was persistent in this start. And the Paw Sox, give them credit. They laid off the wild ones and really smacked everything that Roberts brought into the zone.
That ball foul again, and it's 1-2 on Anuri. Henry Ramos and Chris Marrero scheduled to bat in the home half of the 4th. Dan Butler has driven in 4 of the Pawtucket 6 runs, coming out of the 9 spots. Happy fan with a souvenir, courtesy of Kevin Bowles. Managers here at this AAA level, for the most part, all coach third base while their team bats.
Johnson's a guy, Josh, that the Indians are now quite high on. He took a little longer to mature. He was a 10th round pick out of college. He went to Cal Poly. Mike Miller is a grad. Repeated High A, the Carolina League, in 2012 and 13, but last year was a breakout campaign for him. He missed 14 with injury, but at Double A in 2015, 51 appearances at a 105.
Well, that was a filthy breaking ball that fooled Anuri Tavares. Strikeout swinging, goes 2-3 on the putout as it bounced out of the dirt. This is an off-speed pitch that you can't really do anything with.
Late bite, starts in the strike zone and just dives away from Tavares. And actually, in the end, that's pretty good work by Quiroz to get a piece of that and track it down.
28th appearance in his first year at AAA for Jeff Johnson. This is with ball 1 on Ramos. I mentioned Dan Butler has driven in 4 runs. This fella has the other 2 RBI. Couple of sacrifice flies tonight for Henry. 6-2 game in the 4th. It's on the ground to the right side, and the first baseman Aguilar, nimble for a big man, makes the play and feeds the pitcher for out number 2. 3-1. Aguilar to Jeff Johnson. Thus far, both of the relievers have come in and somewhat established a sense of order in this game.
Indeed, and Aguilar is quick over there first base for a big guy. It is so much easier for infielders to stay locked in defensively when pitchers throwing strikes, as Johnson has done here to the first 2 hitters.
Chris Marrero has walked and popped out, and Johnson missed with ball 1. The Paw Sox have 5 hits, 5 walks they've received, and 6 runs on the scoreboard through the first 3 innings. And now the 1-0. On the ground to the shortstop, Gonzalez scoops it up cleanly, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Jeff Johnson. So the teams each go quickly in the 4th. When we return, former Red Sox catcher and now current Pawtucket hitting coach Rich Gedman speaks with us from the dugout. It's 6-2 Paw Sox. Beautiful sunset forming on the horizon as we hit the 5th inning. Pawtucket leading 6-2. Back with you on NESN and the Paw Sox Radio Network. I'm Josh Maurer. Roman Mendez is back on the mound. And for the play-by-play, here is Will Fleming.
Thank you so much, Josh. Smiles in the dugout. There's Eduardo Rodriguez, who will slide back into the Paw Sox rotation. Joe Kelly talking with Justin Maxwell and Chris Dominguez. And that is such an indication of the way this club has been all year long. They really enjoy being around one another. And at this AAA level, that is so important. Joey Butler takes a first pitch outside from Roman Mendez. 6-2 Pawtucket. Good to see Eduardo smiling. We know that the news to him could not have been all that well received, but he's here to work hard and fight his way back to the big leagues. Popped up into right field. Charging in on it, Ramos, and he'll get there just inside the line to make the play. Well, with 1 down in this top of the 5th inning, it is always a treat to talk to a man Red Sox fans know and love, and now the hitting coach here in Pawtucket, Rich Gedman. Geddy, great to talk to you. Thanks for taking the time. I know you have a special camaraderie with your backstops. Dan Butler is having a heck of a night at the plate. What have you seen from Big Dan?
Well, the nice part about Dan is he's really worked hard to get in a good position or stay in a good position. He hasn't really played a whole lot, but he's played a lot lately. And he's really done a nice job of staying within himself and staying on top of the ball. So he put a really nice swing on the home run, and I'm happy to see him doing well.
Yoxian Medina takes a strike from Roman Mendez. Rich Gedman, the Paw Sox hitting coach, is with us. Were you pleased with the at-bats? I'm sure you were, from Henry Ramos. Take what's there. A couple of sacrifice flies back in the first 2 innings.
Well, the funny part is we get a sac fly, and you're sometimes thinking you want more, you know. He certainly was a productive at-bat, and he's put some good at-bats on as of late.
Hey, Rich, when Brock Holt and Ryan Hannigan were each with the team for about the past week, what did you see from those guys? It appeared kind of to the layman that neither of them really showed all that much rust at the plate. Was that the case as you saw it?
It's really kind of neat. You know, getting a few at-bats back, it looked like Brock hadn't skipped a beat. And yesterday he was a little out front of some balls, but you know, his first 7, 8, 10 at-bats were really, really solid approach. Hannigan, it was really nice to see him, you know, shorten up a little bit and stand on the ball. And he put together a nice day yesterday. And certainly, you know, it's just a matter of comfort, getting up there, getting some at-bats underneath your belt, and feeling good about yourself. They both know what they need to do to be successful. And, you know, they're always just trying to keep that swing right.
2-2 to Yoxian Medina. 1 out, top of the 5th. Great to be joined by Rich Gedman. Rich, I know you've done a lot over the last couple of years with Bryce Brentz. He appears to have that approach the other way these days, and man, has he had some great swings at the big league level. That must be really fun for you to watch.
Well, you know, he's a really talented player, you know, and it's nice to see him starting to come into his own, trusting in his swing, believing in his approach, and not trying to do too much. He has the gift of power, and sometimes that could be a demon. And he's really done a nice job of staying within himself and having a solid approach at the plate, especially there in Boston.
To those guys, do you talk to those guys who are going to go up to the big leagues about maybe what to expect, how to handle yourself, how things are different? Because a lot of your players here these past few years have gotten that call. Is that something that when somebody has as much experience as you have, do you like to impart that on them on their way?
Well, one of the things that you mainly suggest is that, you know, you develop a solid approach here. The game doesn't change much up there. It's certainly a better pitcher, a better quality pitcher day in and day out. But that solid approach that you have and an idea of what you want to do when you're up there swinging the bat really matters. And so, you know, they've learned it through the system, and it's just passing along for when they get to the big leagues.
Yuri Tavares puts away Medina, 2 down in the 5th. Rich Gedman joins us live on NESN and the Paw Sox Radio Network. Rich, I know you had a fun time back up at Fenway this year, the 30-year anniversary of that pennant-winning American League team. So many memories. Tell our fans about that experience.
It's always great. You know, it's nice to see the guys. We had something special during the 80s. I guess you would relate it as a college fraternity or a high school reunion. It's just nice to be around fellas that you had a special bond with, and no matter where you are or how often you talk to them, you have that something that you spent a lot of time together and you went through the battles of the game. And it's always great to see you know, friends that you haven't seen in a while.
Abraham Almonte at the plate with 2 down at the top of the 5th.
You know, you're such a great teacher of the game. Did you always, Rich, think that maybe when your playing days were done, you wanted to be a coach and teach some of the wisdom that you had picked up over your years? Is this always something that you had in mind?
Well, I wish I could say I invented it, but I know that I didn't. There was a lot of people before me that took a lot of time to sow the seeds of the game, and it's just nice to be able to pass it along to these guys and have some fun with it and help them enjoy the game like we did back in the day.
Well, thanks so much for the time, Rich. We always enjoy chatting with you, and hope the offense keeps on doing it.
I appreciate it, Will. Thank you very much.
That's Rich Gedman, the Paw Sox hitting coach, as Abraham Almonte fouls the 2-0 pitch off. 2 down, top 5. Roman Mendez has retired all 5 Columbus hitters he has faced. Good night for Rich's hitters. They put 6 up. Almonte 1 for 2 with a strikeout. Ground ball up the middle. Devin Marrero watches it roll into the outfield. The Paw Sox did have a little bit of a shift on for Almonte, but that was smoked over the second base bag, and that's the first hit against Roman Mendez.
He's a good hitter, Abraham Almonte. He's shown it too in this rehab assignment that he's on for the Indians. Now 10 out of 22. He's barely below 500. Not bad for a guy who's been out and is going to be out 80 games for a PED suspension. Former Mariner, former Padre, now with the Indians in his second year.
Here's Eric Gonzalez, been a really good hitter on the road. He tries to check his swing and does on a breaking ball from Mendez. 2 down in the top of the 5th. Pawtucket leading it 6-2. In his last 18 games away from Huntington Park, Gonzalez batting .380. He's driven in 17 in those 18 away from home, which is an interesting note, if only because Huntington Park is such a hitter's haven. He's done better away from that yard than in it in Columbus. Swing through. It's 1-1.
It's a beautiful ballpark that is one of the newer ones in this league, right downtown. They call it the Arena District in Columbus. A nationwide arena where the Blue Jackets play right next door.
Look out. Gonzalez loses his bat toward the third base dugout. And it's 1-2. The Paw Sox having a laugh about it in the dugout.
Well, somewhat of a hot, sticky night. Maybe could have used a little rosin on the batting gloves there. Eric Gonzalez, a helicoptering bat. That'll keep you on your toes in that dugout.
Yeah, John Yoakum, the Paw Sox trainer, scrambling out of the way. 1-2 to Gonzalez. Mendez Foul back to the screen, just getting a piece. That might have been the splitter from Mendez.
So we talk about how new the Columbus ballpark is. Here's Venerable McCoy. No dugout railings. One of the unique features of this venue. So you don't really have any protection when you sit in either dugout.
And if you're a fan, you come out. One of the hallmarks of this park is that the fans go fishing for autographs. They hang books and cards and baseballs on ropes down to the guys, and before the game they will sign. Swinging a foul at the plate. It's a pretty exposed look in those dugouts. You do have to be on your toes.
I always think that when I'm walking down there before a game. You can't really fall asleep, so to speak, during the game when you're sitting in there. Those guys don't mind it all that much.
One and two to Gonzalez. He's popped out and struck out. And excuse me, check swing. Grounded to the right side. Vinicio, bare hands, in time. That will end the inning. The kid, Jose Vinicio, makes a really nice play to end the top of the fifth. Halfway home, Paw Sox lead Columbus 6-2. Tune in tonight after our coverage for NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Gary and Emerson will have everything you need to know about the start of NHL free agency tomorrow and preview the Red Sox weekend series against the Angels. That's NESN Sports Today tonight after our game under a beautiful sunset here in Pawtucket. What an effort by Jose Vinicio.
He didn't have time to use the glove. So the infielder charging in just with that barehanded pickup. Nifty. I'll tell you about Vinicio, who's a really young guy. He plays this game with a flair. Fun to watch.
He's always got a smile on his face. Got the mohawk working tonight. He tightened that up yesterday when he got back from Rochester. He has given this club a lift. And I think you're dead on, Josh. The energy he has brought into this clubhouse has been a real factor. 1-0 to Jansen Whitty, leading off the bottom of the fifth. He takes low and inside, ball two. Jeff Johnson sent down Pawtucket in order in the fourth inning. Whitty has fouled out and walked.
Sorry, Will. Just 22 years old for Vinicio. You don't see a ton of 22-year-olds in this league.
He was signed for a hefty sum as a 16-year-old young man out of the Dominican as Whitty takes a strike. And it took a little while for him to develop in the way that the Red Sox maybe had hoped. And he's shown some real flashes this season, particularly in his time with Pawtucket. But he grounds one to short. Gonzalez retires him. One away. Here comes Ryan Court, another guy who's joined the club from the AA level. Josh, I think something we learned almost immediately about Jose Vinicio. Not only does he love to bunt, he's active on the base paths. He uses that speed to his advantage, and he proves it there. He does that defensively, too. Soft chopper towards short. Tough try for Gonzalez. He gets it there in time to get Court. Very quickly, two away.
And there are few, very few, that can pull off that kind of haircut. You want to try that one, Will?
That would not look real good on me. My ears are too big.
You call that a mohawk?
You do. Here is Rusney, who has walked and flied to right. Two down, bottom five. Fastball misses inside, ball one. Jose having fun. Here's Castillo. He's got something of a mohawk underneath that batting helmet. Swing and a miss. His father had that same do. That's why Rusney wears it that way in honor of him.
It's kind of the old David Beckham. More of the traditional, at least recently, mohawk look. Unlike Vinicio. More like a chia pet.
Jose rides it wide. The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a chopper foul. And it is 1-2 to Castillo. Well, for Rusney, who was outrighted, taken off the roster, he has looked a little bit better the last few days, swinging the bat well. He's pretty open about the challenge ahead of him, and he's also quite positive. 1-2 fouled into the seats. You ask him if he thinks he got a fair shake, and he says, I absolutely do. And my only focus is finding that timing again. Deciding upon a routine that works. He was so tremendous in all the showcases for big league clubs that lured the Red Sox to sign him to the big deal. He pops this one up into center field. Almonte has a play. The inning is over. Jeff Johnson has retired 6 Paw Sox in a row. We've played 5 at McCoy. Paw Sox lead it 6-2. Hurl the Pearl comes to a close. One of the new fun promotions here at McCoy Stadium in 2016. Always entertaining in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Paw Sox having some fun on the diamond too. 6-2 they lead. As we go to the top of the 6th, Roman Mendez back to work, and here for the play-by-play once again is Josh.
Well, thank you, Will. And if you're just joining us, the starter William Cuevas pulled after just 3 innings of work tonight, so this is going to be some long relief for Mr. Mendez, and thus far up to the challenge. Just 1 base runner through his first 2 innings of work. Tonight, a special simulcast. NESN and our Paw Sox radio network audience, we welcome one and all. From NESN, Brian Zaccello and director Dan Aspin. Down in the truck at the controls, providing you the pictures, and a great job from everybody on the radio and television side on this collaboration. We appreciate the efforts to make this possible.
The most nerve-wracking moment of my entire day is when I see Z for the first time and he gives me the thumbs up or thumbs down on the tie I've chosen. It was sort of somewhere in between today.
Yandy Diaz behind 0-1. That sounded like a broken bat, and it's right at the third baseman, Whitty. Perfect throw across, and there's one away here in the 6th. Will is now officially 1 out of 2, passing the test of a tie.
I'm going to start texting him pictures before every important function. I feel like he's got a real good sense of this, does Brian.
On our radio side, across the entire network tonight without a Red Sox game, and at the flagship, Ed Dunn is our producer. Here's Jesus Aguilar. RBI single and a deep flyout. This man Aguilar, he can mash. 15 home runs, 2nd most in this league this season. He's been doing it for a few years. 3rd full season with Columbus. He is a big, big boy. They list him at 250 pounds. Big cut, no contact, 1-1, and he is every bit of 250. Filling out that uniform, number 30.
And their ballpark is a bandbox. That downtown gem, it absolutely flies there, and he has hit some tape measure shots at Huntington Park.
The 1-1. Breaking ball outside, 2-1. TJ House, left-hander who's on the 40 man for the Indians, is getting loose after 2 perfect innings from Jeff Johnson. 1 out in the 6th of a 6-2 Pawtucket lead. Mendez 2-1. Ball 3 rides inside on Big Aguilar. They've tried him, the Indians have. Few major league games, 26 over the past couple of seasons, and he just hadn't hit there. In fact, he hadn't hit a home run in his 26 big league games. 3-1. Good pitch. Thought he'd get a fastball, and he got an off-speed offering, a full count.
Well, and on cue, that proves the main issue with Aguilar. He's got power, but the swing can get long, and there are holes in it, and they have been exploited at the big league level.
The payoff pitch from Roman Mendez to Aguilar. Into the mitt of Butler, who holds on for strike 3. A foul tip. That's the 2nd strikeout for Mr. Mendez, and a little country hardball there to get Aguilar.
He's always had the big arm. And this is just a challenge fastball. That is power on power. May the best man win, and Roma just blew it by him.
Counting the strikeouts here at McCoy. 5 from Cuevas, and now 7 total. Giovanni Urshela with 2 out. Ball 1, they have color-coded the K's.
That's
different
good.
color for each pitcher.
That's really good. I wonder if they have red in case a third arm comes out of the pen.
Of course.
I also like how they align them. Like if it's a strikeout looking, they turn it backwards.
Good slider. Outside corner on Urshela.
That way you know exactly who's thrown them and how they've gone down.
Mendez in command. Pitching with a 6-2 lead. The 1-1 to Urshela. Out of play, 1-2. It's the beginning of a 4-game series. The only trip for this Indians AAA affiliate to McCoy this season. And the next 3 nights, we expect nearly packed houses. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evening. All games followed by a patriotic-themed fireworks show. And if you've ever seen what we do around July 4th here at McCoy, you know what I'm talking about. They are exquisite, those shows. That's in a right. Opposite way for Giovanni Urshela, and a base hit. On a hop in front of Ramos, who does a nice job moving to his left. Plays it back in, and a 2-out base runner for the Clippers here in the 6th.
Good piece of hitting there for Urshela. And another guy who, because of some of the moves the Indians made in the offseason to bolster their roster, has not been able to crack the big leagues to this point this year. He's a piece that they really do like, but the emergence of Lindor, and they brought over Juan Uribe, which has sort of blocked his path at third.
Choice rips it into the gap in right center field. Michael Choice hits it off the fence. They're going to try to wave around Urshela. Vinicio's got a shot with the relay to the plate. In time, Butler the tag. Perfectly executed, and the Paw Sox cut down a run at home. Michael Choice hit it off the fence. The Paw Sox throwing out Giovanni Urshela to keep a 6-2 lead. Pawtucket holds on to a 4-run lead thanks to this perfectly executed relay. A double from Michael Choice. 9-4-2, and Will Fleming, this is a close play at the plate.
I thought that double clutch from Vinicio may well cost him, and in the end I do think maybe that right hand from Urshela does get onto the plate before the tag, but man, was he leaking oil. Those last 10 steps, he could not have been moving any slower, and he essentially belly flops into the home plate area. And Dan Butler sweeping the tag over, and they get the call.
So now the new pitcher coming in is left-hander T.J. House for the Clippers. Third hurler used by Chris Tremmy. Devin Marrero looks at a strike from House. Jeff Johnson, 2 perfect innings behind the ineffective starter Will Roberts. And here comes House, 40-man guy who has some big league time. Been a starter a lot of the year here in Columbus. It's a play for the first baseman Aguilar. Marrero hustling down the line, but retired. One away for Mr. House. Now the Paw Sox have put on impressive post-game fireworks shows all season and for years, as we've talked about. Well, they've recently added 3 more nights to this year's fireworks schedule. If you haven't been here to check it out, make a trip to Pawtucket. See one of our spectacular post-game pyrotechnics. Tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, those are the patriotic-themed ones. July 15th, and then 2 in August, 1 in September. You've got some chances. See the fireworks at McCoy.
T.J. House is a guy who, over the last 2 years, made 22 starts in the big leagues, 12 this year for Columbus. But he just could not find the strike zone. He led the league in walks per 9 innings at the time he was sent back into the bullpen. Prior to that, Josh, he'd only made 2 relief appearances in his entire minor league career. So he is a guy who's fighting his command.
Dan Butler hits one towards a a vacated side of the infield with a shift on, and somehow the second baseman Medina just got over to his left to make that play. Yoxian Medina's had a fine night. I didn't think there was any chance he'd get Butler.
Now the inside-out swing. I think Butler is trying to go through and against that shift. They had 3 behind and to the left side of second. Excellent play, particularly the throw. And I think Medina realized he had to dive to put as much mustard behind it as he could, even with the catcher Butler running down the line.
So 2 out quickly for House, and Vinicio hits 1, 2 hops to the shortstop, Eric Gonzalez. Easy does it. 3 up, 3 down. After 6, the Paw Sox general manager Dan Ray is going to join us. We'll talk about all the events at McCoy when we come back. 6-2, Pawtucket. Sunset turning into tonight. Darkness falls over McCoy as we go to the 7th. Pawtucket with a 6-2 lead on visiting Columbus. It's our special NESN and Paw Sox Radio Network simulcast. Josh Maurer and Will Fleming here from McCoy, and we welcome on the first-year general manager of the Pawtucket Red Sox. Dan Ray is on with us. Down field level. Dan, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Josh. How are you?
We're having a lot of fun. It's a great game, a great night here. Dan, we've got a big weekend coming up. We've been talking a lot about these huge patriotic-themed fireworks shows, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think it's important to tell our fans that these are 3 of the best fireworks shows that they'll find in this area, right?
Yeah, they really are. You know, the firework program here has been a signature element of the Paw Sox McCoy experience. So it's a very big part of what we do here, and these are 3 great shows coming up tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'd certainly encourage folks to come down and take in the great show we have.
Guillermo Quiroz, the catcher, is 0 for 2. Roman Mendez is in his 4th inning of relief. If he gets an out, it'll be his longest appearance of the year. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count. Dan, we've seen the crowds growing. Obviously, the weather has a lot to do with that, but some of the new promotions and the new atmosphere, energy that we're seeing at McCoy, I think, are you getting the feeling that it's starting to catch on to the folks in this area?
Yeah, I think we've seen a really good vibe here in recent weeks. Obviously, the very start to the spring season wasn't the most advantageous. We had some cold weather, some rainy weather, so that was a little bit of a tough start for us, but we've had really good crowds here recently. We've sold out a couple of recent crowds, so we're doing well, and as you said, we're trying to introduce some new ideas, some new tricks, while building on the foundation of great family-friendly, affordable entertainment here that's been such a part of this place for generations. So there's a great base and a great foundation. We've tried to build on that and add in some new things along the way.
1 and 2. That's on the ground to second. Vinicio has a play. Takes his time with the catcher running. So there it is, the longest outing of the season for Mr. Mendez.
Dan, Josh and I have been able to see firsthand the blood, sweat, and tears that you and your staff have put into this ballpark this year. So many new ideas. The effort has been incredible. You've got a big platform here tonight as we're on both the radio network and on NESN. Just in your words, what's sort of been the mission statement of this new group as we move sort of into a new wave here at McCoy?
Well, we want to, I think, offer a first-rate experience when people come to our ballpark. The moment that they set foot in the door, we want them to feel welcome. We want them to feel appreciated. We have a great, again, foundation here of family-friendly entertainment. There's a great group of longtime veterans in the front office here, guys like Mike Tamburo and Bill Wanless and Mike Gwynn. So we've been fortunate to learn from those guys and, introduce some new ideas as well, while always staying true to the philosophy that when you're hosting a ball game, you have to put on a great show for the people who come, and win, lose, or draw, you've got to be able to offer the best experience possible.
It's Paw Sox general manager Dan Ray as we play in the 7th inning. Pawtucket leads 6-2 with 1 out. Noe Ramirez is warming in the bullpen as Mendez continues to work now on Joey Butler. 1-1 the count. Here comes the Butler. High for ball 2. Dan, the Paw Sox, along with the state of Rhode Island and the city of Pawtucket, are taking bids from different architectural firms, trying to put together a feasibility study, I know, for the future of this ballpark here at McCoy. Where is that process at these days?
Yeah, so we're working hand in hand with the city and with the state. We've put out an RFP for various architects to bid on the process and to come in here. Oh,
tough hop.
Tough hop indeed. Yeah,
Yep.
so we've been working with the city and the state hand in hand, and we're going to take a deep look at this ballpark to see what needs to be done to get a sense of what we can do or can't do. And it's been a really good process working with the mayor and with the elected officials at the state level as well. So we've had a really good dialogue here with those folks, and we're moving forward with a good, productive partnership.
I can tell you right now, Devin Marrero would like those architectural firms to take a look at the lip of the grass and the dirt right there.
That was a tough bounce. That was a tough one there.
That's a base hit for Joey Butler, so 1 out, and here comes Yoxian Medina.
Dan, as Roman Mendez gets prepared to face Medina, you've spent so much time at the side of Larry Lucchino, who is such an accomplished executive at the big league level. And we've seen a lot, some of those qualities that you have imparted in your time here. What did you learn from Larry in all those years in Boston?
I've been very, very fortunate. I was a beneficiary of, and I continue to be a beneficiary of Larry's, his mentorship, his ideas, his knowledge. One thing that he really, I think, has always instilled in those who work for him is the idea of the fan experience, the paramount importance of offering a great experience to people when they come through your doors. Again, we don't always control the end result of the game each and every night, but we do have an ability to control the way that people are treated here, the way that our ushers, our concession staff, our front office members, the way that everyone treats the fans. So he's, I think, at heart a fan, someone who sees the fan experience as crucial to the health of any organization. So I could write a book about what I've learned from Larry, but I'll tell you that, you know, at his heart, at our heart, this is a fan-focused organization and will remain that way as it's been for many years.
The ball skips under the glove of the catcher Butler, and so Joey Butler, the base runner, will advance up to second base. It'll be a wild pitch on Roman Mendez. Again, Noe Ramirez is ready in the Pawtucket bullpen, a 6-2 Pawtucket lead as we visit with Dan Ray. I think a lot of people watching tonight's game and hearing you talk about Larry Lucchino would be curious to know. Larry obviously is really involved here with the Pawtucket Red Sox. Tell the listeners and those watching tonight's game just some of the things that Larry is helping do here down in Pawtucket.
Well, he's the person who really sets the vision for us, along with his partners here in our ownership group. You know, they give us the resources and the tools that we need to be successful here. We have a really dedicated group of front office members. That group includes some folks from the Red Sox sphere, like myself, who worked there for many years. We have Charles Steinberg as our president, Jeff White, our treasurer. So we have a really good group of people here, newcomers, and then also some of the veterans who I mentioned. And Larry and his group have been able to give us the resources we need, and they've been supportive, and they challenge us, and they ask us to deliver a high-quality experience here. So that's been a hallmark of Larry's career, the fact that he finds people who are ready, willing, and able, and leads them and drives them to new heights.
Another wild pitch got past Dan Butler, so Joey Butler's at third now with 1 out suddenly. He had the bad hop single, back-to-back wild pitches. Infield stays back in a 2-2. Had one behind shortstop, not deep at all. Here comes Anuri Tavares, camped underneath, and no chance to test him. 2 out in the inning for Roman Mendez.
Dan, for those maybe who are watching on television have not yet made the trek to McCoy Stadium, there are a lot of new promotions, new sights, new sounds, even new smells here at this ballpark. What are some to you that stand out in 2016?
Yeah, we've tried to introduce, I think, some new, again, tricks, I guess you could call them, new attractions. We've done a lot more with the in-game presentation here, doing some fun things. You know, we have a truck that goes around the field that fans can throw baseballs into between innings. We do a pop fly challenge where if a person catches 3 fly balls, the whole ballpark wins French fries. So we've tried to do some new and fun things that way. We've also tried to do some physical things with the ballpark and introduce a new and improved barbecue area, some new concessions items, some new concession stands. So we've tried to introduce a range of different things while, again, staying true to that core vision and that core principle of great family-friendly entertainment here.
Rusney Castillo back
what a
at
catch.
the fence on a drive by Abraham Almonte, and he tracked it down.
Atta-way, Rusney.
Dan Ray, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Good talking to you.
Paw Sox General Manager Dan Ray. How about the work from Roman Mendez? 4 scoreless innings will stretch, and it's still 6-2. What great work in long relief by that man. Reliever Roman Mendez with his longest outing of the year, 4 scoreless innings, and it's 6-2. Pawtucket, bottom of the 7th. And for our radio audience, we're going to pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Paw Sox Radio Network. Hanuri Tavares took a strike from the left-hander T.J. House. Leading off here, Tavares is 1 for 2 with a walk. We thank you so much for being with us. That's ripped towards second, past the dive of Medina. Third time Hanuri has been on. It's our special simulcast again tonight with both the Paw Sox Radio Network and NESN. Glad you're with us, and well, folks, you were hoping to see more of this in Boston, I know, from Rusney Castillo, but what a running play.
He's always had tremendous range, Josh. He showed that there right on the warning track in front of the 400 sign. That is the speed and defense that tantalized so many clubs. The defense for Rusney never slumps. He is pretty fun to watch out there.
Henry Ramos to first, and that a 3-6-3 double play. Right at Jesus Aguilar. And just like that, 2 outs and nobody on.
A little bit unfortunate for Ramos that Aguilar was holding Tavares at the first base bag. That was very nicely done.
Josh Maurer and Will Fleming, we are the radio broadcast team for the Paw Sox. We are back at it tomorrow night. Special time, 5:45 pregame on the radio, 6:15 first pitch. That's because of the fireworks on Friday night. Meanwhile, for those of you watching on television, thanks for making us a part of a Red Sox-less Thursday night. Chris Marrero with 2 out, and the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. The Red Sox, by the way, welcome the LA Angels. Stephen Wright will get the ball tomorrow night. It'll be good, I know, to be back at Fenway.
Chance to see Mike Trout, who's having yet another historic season.
That'll get out of play, 2-1.
And Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, Jackie Bradley, some of the best young talent in the game. The Angels have not put a lot around Trout, but he continues to do it.
6-2 with 2 out. Now the 2-1. Ball 3 from House. All the outs he has recorded since entering last inning have been on ground balls. Now the 3-1. Ripped on the ground, but right at the shortstop. That is Eric Gonzalez. Another ground out for House. These bullpens have been pretty much flawless. We think that Mendez is done, so it's Noe Ramirez time as we head to the 8th. Pawtucket leading this game 6-2. For fans looking for affordable family fun, why not head down here? McCoy Stadium is the place to be this month. Catch a Paw Sox game. Paw Sox have a ton of home games here in the month of July, including some great post-game fireworks shows. Check out all the information. Go to our website, pawsox.com. You can order your tickets. You can find out the different promotions for any given night. Again, that's the official Pawtucket Red Sox website, pawsox.com. Roman Mendez is finished. He is in line for a win. There's Noe Ramirez coming in as we head to the 8th with a 6-2 lead. Back for the play-by-play, my broadcast partner, Will Fleming.
Thank you so much, Josh. Fun night at McCoy under darkening skies. Noe comes out of the pen. What a job by Roman Mendez. 4 scoreless. Roman allowed 4 hits. Struck out 1, and here is the 3/4 release point right-hander Noe Ramirez. First pitch to Eric Gonzalez is a strike. Red Sox fans plenty familiar with Noe. Made a bunch of appearances up in Boston this year and become a reliable weapon over the last couple of seasons for Kevin Bowles. Back through the box, backhanded by Vinicio on the run, not in time. Gonzalez running hard down the line. That would have been another great play by Vinicio. But Gonzalez beats it down the line and greets Noe Ramirez with an infield hit.
That's the 9th hit of the night for Columbus. Great try by the second baseman, and that off-balance throw just not quite enough mustard. Eric Gonzalez, a good young hitter, and you can see Vinicio had a long way to go just to get to it. Will Noe, by the way, is working on a 10-appearance scoreless streak.
More good range by Vinicio. Noe misses inside to Yandy Diaz, and that's ball one. Ramirez in the big leagues this year, last with the Red Sox on the 3rd day of June. 2 stints for him. 1-0. Just off the plate, 2-0. Pitched in 11 ball games for John Farrell, and as you said, Josh, since coming back, he has been outstanding for Pawtucket.
Made his first opening day roster this year for Boston.
There's a strike on the inside corner.
And he's found a groove here with the Paw Sox over these really past 4 or 5 weeks.
And he has been in the strike zone. Only 1 walk in his last 8 outings. Pounding the zone. 3 saves on the season at AAA. There's a fisted foul into the seats on the first base side. 2-2. Noe, fastball, slider, changeup combo. Paw Sox have gotten 4 runs batted in from Dan Butler. Henry Ramos, the other pair. 2 sacrifice flies for Ramos. Cuevas for 3. Roman Mendez 4 shutout innings. And now Noe here in the top of the 8th. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out with that vintage slider. They'll hang another K on the railing here at McCoy. 8th team strikeout. Diaz, no shot at that slider.
You can see why it's so tough for right-handed hitters, especially that somewhat 3/4 sidearm slot that Noe comes from. Very difficult to pick it up. So I guess it's just the relievers have all one color.
Starters in the pen.
Yeah,
Come
2
out
colors.
Of the pen, you're blue. Diaz feeling blue after that punch out. Here's Aguilar, who drives this one deep into left center field. Castillo back. Rusney looks up, and it crashes off the wall and over the top of the wall for a home run for Jesus Aguilar. Castillo gave it everything he had, but the big boy Aguilar goes yard. And all of a sudden, this is a 2-run game. One of the deepest parts of the ballpark. That is big boy power from Aguilar.
His 16th. Now at the top spot, tied in the International League. The pitch was up. He was able to get the barrel of the bat on that. Now Castillo, as you said, gave it a great effort. Looks like it landed just above the wall in that flower bed.
He went slamming in, did Rusney. Sliders swung on and missed by Urshela for strike 1. Well, with 1 swing of the bat from that man, Jesus Aguilar, the complexion of this game changes completely. Impressive power to the pull side. Urshela breaks his back. Marrero charges, throws out Urshela. Another 2 down.
For Noe with Pawtucket, that's the first run he's allowed since, get this, May 7th. He's been pitching so well here. Aguilar gets him.
It's just the 2nd home run and now his 15th appearance. Aguilar will do that to you. He's got a lot of pitchers in his book. He's made this a 2-run game. 2 outs in the 8th. Here's Michael Choice, who smashed one to right center field his last time. Slider just outside. That was the ball that was beautifully gunned home by Ramos, Vinicio, and Butler to cut down Urshela at the plate. Had they not done that, this might well be a 1-run game. Slider for strike, 1-1.
The other player in the International League, by the way, who has 16 home runs is a fella who's playing for Scranton named Aaron Judge. Huge, hulking right fielder. We saw him last weekend hit a couple here at McCoy, and the Yankees have a guy that He profiles as a 30 to 40 home run guy if he gets up to the next level.
And when he hits them, they are majestic. He hit a couple here that absolutely took our breath away. 2-1 to Choice. Outside, ball 3. And Carlos Beltran having sort of a renaissance year. Right field for Judge, temporarily anyway, is blocked, although there's plenty of conversation that Beltran would be on the trading block, potentially maybe with a couple of those bullpen arms for the Yankees. That is outside, ball 4. That'll bring the tying run to the plate as Ramirez issues his first free pass. Guillermo Quiroz coming up. Josh, we both think they got to find a place for that kid, Aaron Judge.
Well, you can envision in the not too distant future a matchup at Fenway or at Yankee Stadium between Craig Kimbrell and Aaron Judge with the game on the line. How about that?
It's pretty daunting. Here is a pinch runner on for Choice. Bryson Miles after that base on balls. So a little speed on the base paths. Here is the catcher, Quiroz. 2 down. A 2-run game. Quiroz is 0 for 3. Slider for strike on the outside corner. 0-1. That Scranton club we've seen on a number of occasions, you would think, has got some pieces that could help New York down the stretch and in years to come. Gary Sanchez has been hot at the plate. This one misses outside. 1-1 to Quiroz. They already graduated Rob Refsnyder up to the big leagues.
It's one of the fun things about working day in and day out at this level, Will. We get to watch some of the next guys, the future of baseball. Many of them come through the International League anyway.
And we've seen a lot of them wear Paw Sox uniforms. 1-1 outside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
I think over the years here it's been such a drawing point to fans at McCoy Stadium. See the next Red Sox before they hit Fenway. Get to know them a little bit. See what you like about them. Make some new favorite players, and then when they get to Boston, you feel like you already have that relationship.
Been a constant pipeline. This one popped up foul side of first. Court will have room on this expansive collar, and he makes the play to end the inning. An impressive home run from Jesus Aguilar has made this a 2-run game. After 7.5 at McCoy, the Paw Sox lead Columbus 6-4. Sweet Caroline echoes through the rafters here at McCoy Stadium. Paw Sox hanging on, leading 6-4. It's been a night for the long ball. Sticky evening here in Pawtucket. Chris Tremme, the Columbus manager, is going to go to his 4th pitcher. So we introduce you to Josh Martin.
Martin for Columbus coming into game number 26. 0-2 with a 4.64. He's got a couple of saves. 17 runs and 33 hits allowed in exactly 33 innings. This guy's got good strikeout stuff. More than 1 strikeout per inning pitched. 38 of those against just 9 walks. Good work from TJ House. He, just like the reliever that preceded him, Jeff Johnson, with 2 scoreless.
Jansen Whitty leads off the bottom of the 8th, taking a fastball outside for ball 1. 6-4 Pawtucket. Jansen tonight 0 for 2. He did walk in the 3rd. There's a strike on the outside corner. Henry Owens will be on the mound tomorrow for Pawtucket. Special 6:15 start against Toru Murata. 1-1 to Whitty. A little bit low. Slider that missed. 2-1. "26 years old. Enterprise, Alabama is Josh Martin. This is his first trip through AAA. Whitty skies one into center. Almonte has it. 1 away.
What a job thus far, Will, by the Columbus bullpen after Will Roberts allowed 6 runs in the first 3 innings. Paw Sox have only 1 base runner since the 3rd. The good news is Thus far, those 6 runs have been enough. Couple run lead with just 3 defensive outs needed to secure a win.
And it looks like it will be Noe Ramirez to get those. Pitch count for William Cuevas. Brilliance from Roman Mendez as Ryan Court takes a strike. Noe gave up the home run to Aguilar, but 3 outs away from a win. See if the Paw Sox offense can get him a little insurance. It is just outside 1-1. Tito, Terry Francona's got the big league club firing on all cylinders. What a staff they've got in Cleveland. Executives around the league are gaga for all those young arms as Court swings and fouls one back. In fact, there have been times when the Indians have appeared as in some ways a natural trading partner for Dave Dombrowski and the Red Sox, just because of all the talented young arms they have. Red Sox, most would say, have a surplus of talented position players. So there might be a marriage there as Court fouls one off. The difficulty now is that all of those arms for Cleveland have proven themselves consistently at the big league level, which means you would figure that to get a Salazar, a Carrasco, a Bauer, a Tomlin would take a lot. Swing and a miss and a breaking ball, 2 down.
During this 12-game winning streak the Indians are on, pitching staff starter ERA below 2, 1.91. The other thing that I think would give the Indians pause, now that you're kind of in a playoff mix, do you really want to help out another team that could potentially be fighting for a spot with you? Red Sox.
That's a really good point. And in fact, if anything, you'd figure the Indians are going to be buyers. Rusney Castillo takes a pitch off the inside part of the plate, ball 1. If there's one soft spot for the Cleveland Ball Club, it's in the bullpen. Rusney drives one in the left field, base hit. Gonzalez went leaping, he could not get it, and Castillo has his first hit of the night.
Rusney's looked very balanced here in these past really 5 or 6 games that he's played. I think he was maybe pressing a little bit after getting outrighted. You see him wait back on that breaking ball. That's a beautiful swing there. Line drive through it to left. Hit a home run yesterday, helped win a game in Rochester.
Castillo's natural swing is inside out. He has opposite field power, and he just needs to trust that swing. He's got lightning quick hands. If he stays balanced as he did there, his hands plenty quick enough to get through the zone. So he extends the inning, and we'll see whether perhaps Rusney thinks about taking off here. A 2-run lead with 2 outs in the 8th. Devin Marrero, the hitter, he has singled, scored a pair of runs. Castillo not going as Marrero takes a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. A lot of people think that what has happened in Arizona, even after all the big deals that they made, the Diamondbacks, Zach Greinke has made his way off the diamond. They're waiting to see whether he needs to be on the disabled list, but Arizona just has not played well this year, so there's some who think that they may be a partner for Cleveland out of their big bullpen pieces. The 0-1 is swung on and fouled back, and it's 0-2 to Devin Marrero.
Those Indians still haven't lost since the Cavaliers won the NBA championship.
Something going on in Cleveland.
In the water, maybe?
That's usually not been a real good thing. Things going on in the water in Cleveland. But perhaps it is all turned. 0-2 to Devin Marrero. 6-4 Paw Sox. Breaking ball on the ground to third. Urshela goes the short way to second to get Castillo, and that is the inning. Paw Sox are 3 outs from a win. Noe Ramirez back to the mound with Pawtucket leading it 6-4. Guys in the Pawtucket dugout, I've seen a fun one tonight. Sox lead at 6-4. Noe Ramirez trying to close this one down. Let's see the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. Joey Butler, Yoxian Medina, and the big leaguer Abraham Almonte. Just about ready to start here in the top of the ninth. Columbus has 10 hits tonight. Biggest of them all, a 2-run homer that made this a close ball game in the top of the 8th. Ramirez ready to go as Butler stands in, batting from the right side. Takes outside from Ramirez. And Josh, this guy Joey Butler played in a lot of games for the Tampa Bay Rays last year. He had a really nice year. He's got to feel like he's due another opportunity at the big league level.
He hit nearly 280 with Tampa, 88 games, a little bit of power too, and then the Indians took him off waivers.
Pitch misses 2-0.
Just has not had a chance this season for Terry Francona. Got optioned before the end of spring training, and Columbus it's been.
Well, Ramirez wants to come in here. You cannot issue a free pass leading off in the 9th of a 2-run game. And that is outside, ball 3. Butler has struck out, fly to right, and singled on the infield. Must come in here, Mr. Ramirez. 3-0. That is a strike. Like Butler was taking all the way, and it's 3-1.
And for those not familiar, Noe has been a closer many times in his minor league career. Obviously, that's not a role that when he's been in Boston, he's been asked to fill. He's got 3 saves this year.
The 3-1. Another beauty on the outside corner, 3-2.
So he's a veteran of the 9th inning.
He's used to this adrenaline. He will not be intimidated trying to get the last 3 outs here. 6-4 Pawtucket. Cuevas, Mendez, and now Noe Ramirez. The payoff pitch. Called strike 3. Butler takes one right over the heart of the plate, and Noe comes all the way back to get the first out in the 9th.
Well, I think the Clippers thought that this pitch was low. We'll take another look on the television side and see if you agree with Max Gwill. Right at the cap of the knees.
That was a pitcher's pitch for sure. So 1 down, and here is Yoxian Medina.
I think it's a strike. Certainly too close to take at 3-2.
That's one they're talking about eliminating in the big leagues. There is discussion about moving the bottom of the strike zone just a notch higher. So 1 down, here is Medina. He has homered in the game. Breaking ball misses outside, the slider from Ramirez, and it's 1-0.
It's a pinch hitter here, actually. Adam Moore has come up to bat for Columbus in place of Medina.
Right-handed hitting catcher fouls one back. And Moore in there for the first time. Medina's day is done, so they like the matchup better against Ramirez for Moore. Came in as a .280 hitter with 5 home runs and 23 driven in. One and one. Swing and a miss. Almost looked like the changeup from Ramirez. And it's a ball and 2 strikes.
No, he's gone back to using that more in 2016. Said he always had that changeup throughout college, and then in his pro career, he became basically just a fastball slider guy.
1-2. In the dirt. Spiked that one in there. Good take. More 2-2. Not a tough take, but he does level the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Adam Moore is one of the better hitting catchers that you'll find in the International League. You see a .280 average this year. He's kind of a guy that's always been known more for his bats.
Ramirez is 2-2. Swing and a miss. There's the slider from Ramirez. 2 down. Nasty pitch.
Well, I mentioned Adam Moore is a good hitting catcher. Paw Sox have had one of those tonight. Dan Butler had already driven in one, and this ball was hit so high into the air, we thought it might bring down raindrops. Just into the bullpen and left, and the biggest swing of the night thus far. Butler has driven home 4 of the 6 for Pawtucket.
Difference in the game. 6-4 and out away from a win to open the series. We will have 4th of July themed fireworks tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday here at McCoy. Here's Abraham Almonte. He rips one into center field, and that will bring the tying run to the plate. Almonte was not waiting around. His third hit of the night. He smokes that into center field. That'll bring up Eric Gonzalez. Dan Butler is really kind of a neat story. Not drafted out of college, and he has toiled away in the minor leagues and started this year third on the depth chart for Pawtucket. But Sandy Leon, Blake Swihart, Christian Vasquez, they have all moved on to the big leagues, and Butler has become really the everyday catcher, and he has done an excellent job. Here's a swing and a miss at a slider, and it's 0-1. I think what Josh and I have both been particularly impressed with is the way that Butler's been able to keep his timing intact at the plate in limited action. And to end this one here, the one-strike pitch, swing and a miss. Beautiful slider, 0-2.
Gonzalez, this is a good young hitter, but I don't know that I would throw anything else if I'm Noe the way that he has looked on those two swings. Two sliders and just flailing out in front of each. I think if you're Butler here, you call for the exact same pitch.
0-2. The pitch. Broken bat, line drive into center field. That's a base hit. They went with the slider, and Gonzalez able to muscle it into the outfield, and the tying runs are aboard for Yandy Diaz.
And just give Eric Gonzalez a ton of credit. Mentioned how fooled he looked. Here is the same pitch, and he went down and got it. It's a great adjustment for a young infielder.
I mean, Ramirez has to feel like I just made the perfect pitch. That thing was inches off the dirt, and somehow Gonzalez got enough of it.
Well, that'll either be just a footnote in a Pawtucket win or a big, bold-faced part of a great Columbus comeback.
Down to their last out, they've strung together consecutive hits as Dan Butler is going to pay Noe a visit with the runner at second base. Peering in, that's Almonte. These two want to be sure they're on the same page, and of course, part of this story looms on deck. Yandy Diaz, who's 1 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts, but in the on-deck circle, the hulking Jesus Aguilar, who has already homered off of Noah. You know, Columbus wants to get him a chance. 6-4, 2 outs in the ninth. Almonte at second, Gonzalez at first. Ramirez throws outside. Went with the slider and missed. 1-0.
This fellow Yandy Diaz is another one of the imports from Cuba. The Indians signed him about 2.5 years ago. And he is considered one of their better minor league prospects. He's hit throughout the minors.
One of the things they rave about with him is his disciplined approach. Foul ball, first base side. He's got a real good feel for the strike zone. And they feel like if he could just develop a little more power, he's a turnkey big league player. 1-1. Noe takes a deep breath on the mound. Long look into Butler. The 1-1 pitch. Outside. 2-1.
Columbus thinking, hey, maybe we're going to take the lead or tie this thing. So they get one of their closers up. That's Ben Heller, the right-hander. Beginning to loosen for manager Chris Tremme.
This is a tough spot for Ramirez. A hitter's count, knowing he's got to come in to Diaz. Tying runs aboard. Aguilar looming on deck. The 2-1. Almost hit him. It did hit him. A slider that spun out of Noe's hands, and that will load the bases for the big fella Aguilar.
That's a strange spot for Noe to miss with that slider. Normally to a righty, that's going to go down and away. That time inside, just barely grazing Yandy Diaz. Now the game gets extremely interesting. So pitching coach Bob Kipper is going to come pay Ramirez a visit.
Yeah, the plot thickens indeed. Aguilar made this a 2-run game back in the 8th.
Against this pitcher just about 25 minutes ago. high fastball, and look at him whip those hands and get through the strike zone. Just out past the glove of Rusney Castillo, and his 16th home run of the year. And no margin for error now with the bases loaded.
And just about any base hit into the outfield, this game could be tied. Gonzalez runs very well at second. In the outfield, the Paw Sox do have 3 good arms. Tavares, Castillo, and Ramos can all bring it home. Game on the line. Pawtucket leading by 2, but Columbus has the bases loaded for their slugger. Ramirez throws, slider, beauty on the outside corner. Figure he'll see a healthy diet of those.
Well, it would take a lot of guts to go back to the fastball, the pitch that this fella deposited over the fence last inning. And I think in this spot, you go with the pitch you're most comfortable with.
Steps off, trying to get on the same page with Butler. Another long look in. He has the one he wants. The 0-1 pitch. Fastball that missed high and outside. And it's 1-1.
And if you're going to throw that pitch, that's where it has to be. You have to keep it away and make sure he cannot pull the ball. There is no help in the bullpen. The Paw Sox have limited options tonight. Ramirez has had to labor and try to get a 2-inning save.
The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Diving out of the zone. And the Paw Sox are a strike away.
It's the first changeup that Aguilar has seen. He did not look comfortable against it. It's the second time in the inning that the Clippers have been down to a final strike.
One and 2. Ramirez throws. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And the ball game is over. Ramirez fans Aguilar, and the Paw Sox win it 6-4. That man, Dan Butler, had the big swing of the bat. Ramirez slams the door shut. Pawtucket opens the series with a 6-4 win. Thanks to our entire NESN crew. Director Dan Aspen, producer Brian Zaccello. For Josh Maurer, I'm Will Fleming, saying thanks for watching. Stay with us next for NESN Sports Today with Gary and Emerson.